Everyone fails. Everyone in life fails. The difference between people who stay stuck and those who succeed, though, is how they respond to failure. Tonight, we're going to talk about this and this response to failure that we can choose to have. Failure is an event. It is not your identity. What you do next after you fail matters so much more than the actual failure itself in the vast majority of cases. So tonight, we're going to be breaking down how to bounce back, rebuild, and turn your setbacks into setups for something greater. So we're going to be doing that. If you have comments, you can chime in throughout the live chat. If you're watching on replay, just let me know with anything in this that works well for you. So I want to welcome all of you here. Hi, my name is Craig. Welcome to A Side of Hustle. The goal of this channel is to move 10,000 people from stupidly broken to fully free in soul, heart, mind, strength, and wallet. And so we're going to be talking about that here tonight. And I'm super excited to have you here. So if you're like me, you have failures from your past. You have things that have happened in your past that you're just like, oh, I really wish I hadn't made that decision. I really wish I hadn't done any of these things or whatever. So I want to tell you some of the things that I've done to get out of that cycle of kind of woe is me and instead really help you with some things. So we're going to talk about this going through the framework of serve, learn, grow, adapt. This is the 4-step freedom process that I teach on this channel. And I'm also teaching in our special free community that we just got loaded. Stay tuned. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But we're going to just kind of have some basic principles here tonight that we're going to talk about. And I'm just going to do this and encourage you in these areas. If you're trying to overcome some sort of failing from your past, it might be in your recent past, like it might be something that you messed up with today, or it may be actually something from long time ago. It might be something even from your childhood, some sort of failure that you've been kind of holding against yourself. And I don't want you to stay stuck in that area. So we're going to talk about this. And first in the area of serve, I need you to move from self-pity to serving others. Okay. Now this sounds like a really strange first place to unlock freedom in your life, but I am convinced the more and more that I live life in a very practical sense, that serving other people becomes the freedom, kind of the key secret sauce to really unlocking freedom in your life. Because here's what happens. Failure makes us want to look inward. It makes us want to be mopey, say, woe is me. Why me? Why did this happen? Why am I such a failure, right? And so what happens is it's this cycle of self-pity, right, that we get in, and then self-pity leads to doubt, and doubt leads to failure, and failure leads to self-pity. And it just kind of is a really poor set of things that you go through. So instead of being stuck in the past with self-pity and replaying what went wrong, we need to make this shift. And so I want you to really start asking yourself this question, which is, who can I help with what I have learned? Who can I help with what I have learned? And so this is kind of a biblically based principle where it talks about in the Bible how he helps us in our troubles so we can help those in any trouble. In other words, no one is promised a trouble-free or stress-free life. In fact, it's just the opposite. If you're alive, you're going to have troubles. You're going to have stressful things. The question is, are you using the things that you have faced to help other people? And I think one of the big frustrations a lot of people have is, well, all these people, they went through all this stuff, but then they're not helping or teaching or any of these things. And so that's one of the things, like, I want to be different. I want to give away some of these secrets, life lessons that I've learned, because what's the point of my suffering if I just suffered it and then I don't actually use what I went through to help other people? And the same thing is true for you. you might have gone through some very, very major trauma, some really poor decisions that you've made in your past. But here's the thing, self-pity leads to self-isolation, which leads to us feeling like we're the only people who have ever faced this. We're the only people, nobody can understand what we have. So for example, I can say for me, one of the things that I failed at was managing money in the past and having a bunch of income coming in, but then losing a business. And so what I've been teaching on this channel is all the steps, and both how to avoid doing it, and then also showing you in real time how to rebuild something from scratch. Why? It's not just for me. I'm not here to just build a business for me, make a bunch of money. Like, of course, those would be great things if it works out that way, but I want to help people as much as possible. So how do I summarize all this? Well, really simply, when you make failure and the failures that you've experienced about helping others instead of just wallowing in self-pity, it stops feeling like the end of your life, and it starts feeling like a new part of your life, a new mission, something more that you can do. So that's the first thing. So move away from self-pity and start moving towards serving others. Here's the second thing is this, and this is the area of learning, right? So now that we're kind of doing this, if we start to shift our mindset on failure as a teacher instead of an enemy. Now, look, this isn't to say that every time you mess up that you shouldn't take blame for it. Like, no, if you make a dumb decision, you're going to have to take some consequences. And sometimes we are our own worst enemy in areas and stuff like this. But let me talk about what I mean by this. A lot of our failures that we face in life are simply things that we try and we just don't have the skill set to do. We just haven't learned how to do it yet. And that maybe sounds like something you would say to a kid, but the truth is that's true for a lot of us as adults. I know for a lot of my adult life too, there's just been a lot of times that I hit points of failure simply because I just didn't know what I was doing. It was just some sort of lesson that I hadn't learned, some sort of skill I had not yet acquired. So every failure is going to carry a lesson for you, but only if you're looking for the lesson and if you're willing to be able to be taught that lesson. So what does that failure expose in you? So it might expose a weakness that you have, some sort of internal flaw, some character flaw, some moral flaw. It might be just bad strategy. Like maybe you just went off of your emotions and you didn't really think it out, or maybe you did think it out, but you didn't really get other people pouring into you and get some good advice, or it could just be a mindset issue or a bunch of other things, right? But every failure carries a lesson, and it's going to expose something about you that you need to improve. And so you need to take the failure as a teacher that's teaching you a lesson. And so again, you can simplify this by saying, what can I take from this failure experience that is going to help me grow and make me better, right? And so that leads to our next and our third area that we're going to talk about, which is growing. And that is this, that failure should refine you, not define you, okay? Failure should refine you, not define you. So gaining resilience, that's not built by avoiding failure, but learning how to respond when you do fail. In fact, some of the most successful people, the reason that they are successful is they pursue failing quickly. Have you ever thought about a decision long and hard and put it off for a long time, and then you finally make the decision, you find out that you made the wrong decision after all of that worry and after all of that delay? And then you start to realize, like, look, if I had just simply made a decision right away, even if it had been the failure of the decision, I would have learned that lesson a whole lot faster. And so what happens is, if we have made this turn where failure is now a teacher for us, it's not an enemy of us, then we're realizing that, okay, the faster I can learn, the more lessons I can learn, the quicker I can learn those lessons, the quicker I'm going to be able to grow and move to the next level. And of course, that next level will have its own set of things that you're going to struggle with and failures that you're going to have to face, and you're going to have to continue to grow from that. So this is the problem, because most people quit right here because they say, well, because I failed here, now I'm going to go start something new, right? I started this business and I got to this level, and now I failed at this level, so I'm going to start over in something new. But guess what? When they start the new business, they hit that same level, they're going to fail at that new level as well. So what you need to do is you need to learn is once you get to this point of this is where I'm currently failing, this is my stuck area, then you need to pour yourself 100% in until you fix that area. And that becomes your priority. Everything else gets shifted off to the side. Nothing else matters until you are at the point where you are using your failure to fuel your next move, where you've learned the lesson you need to learn. Okay. So for me, I share a lot with my previous failures on this channel, but one of the biggest things that I've kind of learned even through the process of doing YouTube is there are so many little steps along the way where I have failed and I didn't do this right, or I didn't follow up with that. And every once in a while, I'll even catch myself getting back into old habits. But because I'm internalizing, because I'm trying to grow the reach of this channel, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep learning, keep forcing myself to get better in all of these areas. But whenever I hit a roadblock, then the goal is be all in on taking care of that roadblock as quick as possible and pour all in until it's fixed. Because why live in the failure? Instead, let it refine you, not define you. Okay, so that's what we have. And then last is adapt or adjust, right? You know, we need to make shifts. All right, sorry about that. It seems appropriate that in the stream on failure that we would have a failure in our stream. That seems just about right. Right. So adjust, don't abandon, adapt, and try again. This is what we're talking about. Failure is not a stop sign. It's a recalibration point. And small tweaks are often going to make the biggest difference. And here's a kind of an interesting thing that I can use because it just happened, right? Is that I've been working on trying to figure out a better way to live stream. And so I found a 50-foot live stream or a 50-foot network cable, and then I bought an adapter, and everything is working great until tonight. And now I'm still having a streaming problem, right? But I'm not going to just quit and say, okay, I give up. This isn't going to work. Now I know that there is some sort of either, actual failure in the signal getting to the house or a failure in the equipment that we're using. And so how do I know that? Well, because I was having a failure, I made an adjustment, and now it still doesn't work. Now I'm going to recalibrate. Now I got to figure, okay, now I need to call the internet company because I've done everything. I've hardwired this straight into my computer, and I still have a failure. So small tweaks, and again, quick tweaks will often make the biggest difference that you can do with that. So what are things that you can adjust? And again, we're not just talking about getting rid of things. We're talking about taking something that you have, getting rid of it, and then replacing it with something better. That is what we want to encourage you on. And that is what we want to be talking about in general. So taking those things that you can do. So that's a lot of stuff. And that's what we're talking about. So if you have any questions on any of those things that you want to talk about, I would absolutely love to hear from you on that. And while you are typing, or if you're watching on replay and you just have other questions, then feel free to share on that as well. I want to let you know about the brand new school group that we have. And so let me just bring up a link on this here really quick so I can show you. We'll go ahead and throw that in the chat for you. And I want to invite you over because we're going to continue digging in deeper and deeper as we go through this process. And so this link is available down in the description below. We'll also show it on the screen, and I'll actually give you a little preview of kind of what this looks like here as well. So let me pull up that here really quick. We're going to go present, and we're going to share the screen. In case you have not yet signed up, we want to invite you to come over. This is a completely free group, and this is the opportunity that you have to kind of start digging into a deeper level. So we're going to be working on leveling up in our heart, our soul, our mind, our strength, and our wallet. And so we are just kind of continuing to build this. School is a gamified learning system, so it's basically a way that you can start stretching and growing yourself, but do it in a way that's kind of fun, challenges you to keep on growing, to keep reaching a new level. So I would just encourage each and every one of you, whether you're watching live or on replay, click on over, check it out, see if it's for you. It's completely free. And so there is a paid group as well if you really want to kind of fast track yourself and get access to some of the aids and tools that we're building out and kind of get first at that. But I want to just invite you over, check this out, because trying to break free and bounce back when you fail is a whole lot easier when you have a community support around you. Okay, so a couple of questions, and I'll kind of share with me, and you can comment below or you can answer in the chat. If you give a good answer, we'll feature your question or your answer in the chat as well. But have you ever caught yourself stuck in self-pity instead of moving forward? What is a failure that you once thought was the end, but it turned out to be a new beginning? What is the biggest lesson that failure in life has taught you? And where do you tend to get stuck? Is it more on the processing of failure, or is it more on bouncing back? So I kind of would love to know about all of those things. And so what we want to do is we want to help shift you from self-pity to serving other people, and then starting to grow and level up in every area of your life, but especially in the mental growth areas of your life. For right now, that's what we're talking about here today. And so we're going to keep pushing and helping and stretching you beyond that, but to know that just because you have failed doesn't mean you need to quit. So with that, I appreciate each and every one of you, and have an awesome night.